In previous videos, we have looked at the dietary laws belonging to both Christians and Jews. If you're interested in those topics, feel free to check them out. But in this video, we are going to look at the laws specifically to do with Islam. If I asked regular people on the street what they thought the dietary laws in Islam are, the two responses I would probably get would be pork and alcohol. Both of these are of course correct responses, but the dietary laws are more complex than that. In Islam, there are essentially two types of food: halal, meaning according to law, and haram, which means forbidden. There are two main places that Muslims go to find out which foods are halal and haram: the scriptures, which is the Quran, and the Islamic equivalent of the Christian Apocrypha, or extra biblical writings known as Hadith, which is a book of written oral traditions. Most types of food are halal in nature and are too many to list, but there is a clear list of guidelines found in the Quran which states what foods are forbidden. This includes intoxicants and alcoholic beverages, carrion, which are carcasses of dead animals which weren't killed by man, blood, pork, any foods which have been dedicated to another god or idol in a blasphemous way, and animals butchered in forbidden ways, including strangling, beatings, killed by a fall, gored, or savaged by a wild animal. As you may have noticed, many dietary regulations borrow heavily from the Mosaic law, as Muslims acknowledge the Jewish scriptures as being a forerunner to their own. Only they believe that they have been corrupted sometimes in the past. The Jewish and Islamic dietary laws are similar in forbidding consumption of the blood of any animal, the flesh of swine, or of animals that are found dead, and of course food that has been offered or sacrificed to idols. The most radical departure of Islamic dietary laws from those found in the Torah concerns the consumption of alcoholic beverages. Although Judaism encourages moderation, Jews may consume alcohol, and wine is an important element of many rituals and feasts. The Quran, however, absolutely forbids any such beverages. This ban on alcohol has led to some discussion among Islamic scholars, with some schools of thought banning anything fermented, and others allowing foods that are cooked with alcohol, or foods such as chocolate liqueurs, which would never cause anyone to ever become intoxicated. There are, however, a small minority of Islamic sects which only discourage alcohol but don't forbid it. This is despite the Quran being very clear on the subject. For instance, one verse states, "O ye who believe, intoxicants and games of chance and idols and divining arrows are only an infamy of Satan's handiwork. Leave it aside in order that ye might succeed." Another interesting banned type of food is food offered to idols, which can be found in many Christian teachings. An intriguing thing to note is that it is actually okay for Muslims to eat with Jews and Christians, and to eat food prepared by them, as the Quran says they're also people of the scriptures. The Quran says, "This day are all good things made lawful for you. The food of those who have received the scripture is lawful for you, and your food is lawful for them. And so are the virtuous women of the believers, and the virtuous women of those who received the scripture before you, when ye give them their marriage portions and live with them in honour, not in fornication, nor taking them as secret concubines. Whoso denieth the faith, his work is in vain, and he will be among the losers in the hereafter." In Judaism, the dietary laws were set to establish a separateness between Jews and non-believers. In Islam, The dietary laws also illustrate the relationship of such laws to the establishment of a sense of social identity and separateness. In Eastern culture, to eat with someone is to express closeness and friendship. So it is fascinating to see that the Quran actually promotes eating with Christians and Jews, as well as marriage to them. As well as the regulations mentioned before, some Muslims also follow some rules which come from the Hadith and other oral traditions, including not eating donkeys, predators with sharp teeth or fangs, for example dogs, cats or crocodiles, not eating hunting birds like eagles and owls. For some it is forbidden to eat lizards, as well as vermin such as rats, mice, and certain insects like scorpions and spiders. Conclusion: Islam is not only a religion, but it is also a way of life similar to Christianity and Judaism, and its dietary laws reflect this. To summarize what we have learnt, there is essentially two types of food: halal and haram. Muslims learn their dietary laws from the Quran, which derives its laws from the previous Mosaic laws. Muslims, like Jews, can't eat certain unclean animals or blood. They also can't eat things which have died naturally or which were butchered in a forbidden way. And they can't eat foods which were dedicated to other gods or idols. So there we have it. A pretty simplified overview of Islamic dietary laws, but hopefully this gives you some insight and may be helpful in the future if you ever eat with Muslims. What are your thoughts on the subject? Do you agree with everything on the list, or would you add other stuff to the list? And if you're a Muslim who follows the dietary laws, I'd be very interested to hear from you. Leave your comments below. And as always, thank you for watching. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider sharing it to other websites, including websites such as Reddit, Twitter, and Facebook.